right now who got his job based on that merit, and that is you, and you got it because of sucking up to your boss. And with that,
unlike the previous administration,
you will
yes,
judge
we are focusing
simple yes
on
or no. You failed at ensuring basic operational security by sharing classified data over an unclassified network. This was blatant, lazy, and put service members' lives at risk.
Pete Hegseth spent years on a Fox News couch telling America who deserved their job and who didn't. Turns out karma has a sense of humor because Congressman Gil Cisneros, a Navy veteran, a real one, just walked into that hearing room and delivered the most surgical 5-minute destruction of a Secretary of Defense in congressional history. And he saved the best part for last. Watch.
I recognize the gentleman from California, Mr. Cisneros.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, so many topics to cover. I represent California's 31st District, located in Southern California, where you've deployed the National Guard and Marine Combat Battalion in an effort by this administration to provoke a confrontation. God only knows for what reason. As my colleague from Tennessee mentioned, the military has been activated before by the president, but let's tell the whole story. President Johnson federalized the troops after the governor of Alabama activated them to keep black students out of the University of Alabama. President Johnson did it so the students could attend the university. He did it for the right reason. He corrected a wrong. California did not ask the president for help, and the presence of the military is an effort by this administration to intimidate and incite fear and violence amongst its citizens. You failed at ensuring basic operational security by sharing classified data over an unclassified network. This was blatant, lazy, and put service members' lives at risk. And knowing that your office is a SCIF, I hope you are not bringing in your devices, your personal cell phone, or even your work phone, because that's not supposed to be in there either, right, your cell phone, into your office to send these signal chat texts. Your blatant lack of basic OPSEC would have gotten you forced you to resign from any other administration. You're requiring 8% cuts across all services, not to save the taxpayers' money, but to fund President Trump's pet projects. You talk about quality of life for our service members, but yet you take $1 billion away from the Army that was meant to improve their barracks and their living. You said that money waste, but we don't know that yet because we haven't seen a budget. If the president has projects he wants funding for, you need to come before this body and provide reasoning, not just shift money around. Right now, you are stealing from our service members, robbing Peter to pay Paul. Now you have repeatedly said that you will judge every individual on their merit. Is that true?
Unlike the previous administration,
you will
yes,
judge
we are focusing
simple yes
on
or no.
For our service
Judge everybody
members, how
on their
good they
merit.
are at their job, yes.
But yet you are separating thousands of service members who are performing and doing their job at a high level. They are being separated not based on merit. You know, some have been recommended for early promotion and have gotten awards and are doing a great job, but you are separating for no other reason, and frankly, I think you just don't like them. And you are classifying many of them as a national security threat, which is simply not true. You asked the Secretary of the Navy to change the name of the ship, because Harvey Milk didn't meet your definition of warrior ethos. If a Korean War veteran and a Navy diver who gave his life for standing up for his beliefs doesn't meet your definition, I don't know what will. You keep talking about recruiting, but let's face the facts here, right? Recruiting started improving before President Trump even came into office, and the reason that changed was because of the investment that was put into recruiting. Now, I was at the Pentagon at the time, and I know how much we invested in it, and I know how much of the services. And when you take away that investment, you're going to get exactly what happened in President Trump's first administration. In 2019, we had the same recruiting crisis that, back in 2019 when he was president the first time. You continue to attack diversity, but I have always said diversity is about creating opportunity. And I have seen plenty of individuals, many of them enlisted members, who when given the opportunity have succeeded, not because of their sex, not because of color, not because of their sexual identity, but because of their worth ethic and merit. Mr. Secretary, when using your definition of DEI, I think there's only one individual at the Pentagon right now who got his job based on that merit, and that is you. And you got it because of sucking up to your boss. And with that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair.
You got your job because of sucking up to your boss. Not implied, not hinted at, not buried in a legal brief. Said out loud, in his face, on the record, in front of the entire country. And Pete Hegseth, the man who fired 8 generals, deployed Marines against American citizens, leaked classified war plans on a consumer app, and has the audacity to lecture everyone else about merit, sat there with that dying smirk and had absolutely nothing to say. Because it's true. Every word of it is true, and they both know it. Let's talk about what just happened in that room, because this wasn't just a speech. This was an autopsy performed on a man who is still somehow employed. Cisneros opened by doing something nobody else bothered to do. He put Hegseth's signal disaster in language so simple, even a Fox News viewer could understand it. Your office is a SIF, a sensitive compartmented information facility. That means no phones, not your personal phone, not your work phone, nothing, because classified information doesn't leak from a SIF. It's the entire point of a SIF. Pete Hegseth was sending classified war strike information, live F-18 launch coordinates, active military operations from inside a building where phones aren't even supposed to exist, to a group chat that included his wife, his brother, and a journalist from The Atlantic. And then he stood in front of Congress and said, "Every way I communicate is authorized." The comment section said it better than I ever could, says the guy that leaked war information. 1,007 likes. Because everyone watching already knows. Then Cisneros went somewhere nobody had gone yet. The money. The 8% cuts across every military service. Not to save taxpayer money, not to improve readiness, not for any reason connected to national security. To fund Trump's personal pet projects. $1 billion pulled directly from the Army's Barracks Improvement Fund. Money that was supposed to give your soldiers a decent place to sleep. Gone. The same soldiers Hegseth feeds spam. The same soldiers whose care packages never arrive because mail delivery to their ships got suspended. The same soldiers leaking photos of their food to journalists because it's the only protest available to them, and Hegseth calls that waste. Then came the DEI line. And this is where Cisneros showed everybody how you actually use 5 minutes. All year, Hegseth has been firing people. Thousands of service members decorated, promoted, awarded, recommended for advancement, separated, not because they failed, not because they underperformed, but because Pete Hegseth personally doesn't like what they represent. He fired them and classified them as national security threats. People with combat records, people with commendations, people who had already proven their worth in the field. And then Cisneros looked him dead in those glassy eyes and said, "When you talk about DEI, hires people who got their jobs based on something other than merit, there is only one person in the entire Pentagon that description applies to. You. You got it because of sucking up to your boss. That's not an insult. That's a job description." Hegseth spent years on the Fox couch praising Trump. Trump saw a face that looked like a soldier and a voice that said yes. That was the entire interview process. No experience running an organization this size. No strategic planning background. No joint command experience. No understanding of the budget process, which is why he can't produce one. Just a television contract and a willingness to perform loyalty on camera. At least DEI hires meet qualifications. Marines deployed against American citizens in Los Angeles. 8 generals fired with no explanation. Classified war plans on Signal. Defense stocks purchased before the war began. Barracks money redirected to pet projects. And Pete Hegseth responded to every single one of those facts the exact same way. Unlike the previous administration, so tired of Hegseth prefacing every answer with "unlike the previous administration." That's not governance. That's a man who has no answer for what he's doing right now. So he points backwards and hopes you follow his finger. Cisneros didn't follow. He just looked at him. You got it because of sucking up to your boss. Drop one word in the comments for what Pete Hegseth actually is, because Congressman Cisneros just used 5 of them and none of them were kind enough.